Hi everyone, Wendy and Les here.
And welcome to Wine Time. This is something new that we've discovered that we like to do since we retired.
hmm
Just every now and then in the evening, rather than watching TV, we crack open a bottle or two or three of wine and just chit chat.
Yeah.
Today we're happy to have you along with us. And our subject of the day is going to be the 5 reasons why we decided to retire early. We've said before we don't want to preach or tell anyone else to do what to do, but we don't mind sharing what we did and what our motivations were.
Yeah.
And these are the top 5 reasons why we chose to retire early. And number one on the list has to be always time.
Yes.
So you cannot buy time.
It's so true. So we have family members, we have colleagues that we've worked with in the past, and everything else. They've held off on retirement, and they passed away early. Unfortunately, we just felt like you can't really buy time. And right now, we honestly feel like we're in our prime. So, yeah,
And you can't cheat time either. And if you're similar age to us, when you start getting to your 50s, there's a couple of things you notice. And one is that the people that influenced you growing up are starting to die, whether that's parents, sometimes even siblings, whether it's music people you listen to, movie stars you watched. One by one, they just start dropping like flies. And that's just because of time. Time catches up to all of us, and then also you notice, or at least we have, and we think we're in relatively decent health and everything, but you hurt something, it takes a lot longer to recover
it
if it
does.
does at all,
Yeah.
and it doesn't take as much to hurt something as it used to take. So uh, it's just a sign that it's, I don't know if it's nature telling you that the aging process is happening or whatever it is, but we decided for ourselves that because we are kind of in our, at least one of our primes, um, that it was more important to have the time to do things, and while we have the ability to do them, than it would be to have that time when we're kind of bedridden or something like that in our 80s. So
I think in the grand scheme of things, we know that life is fragile, and I mean, we hope to live forever and to enjoy our time together forever. But you're never guaranteed tomorrow, and so why put off tomorrow when you can live for today, sort of thing. So,
and it's a personal choice. I know to some people that they're not thinking about tomorrow. They're too busy today to think about tomorrow.
yeah,
And for us, we've done a lot of thinking about it, and we have had people very close to us pass away.
I think it's the loss that really triggered that thought process for us, is that you can't buy time. The loss of people that are very dear to us, and at a young age as well.
And sometimes, you think, well, if I work one more year, I can save a little bit more. And that's obviously true. But what are you paying? What's the trade off for that? And, you know, you can't just say, well, that's it, I'm done. It has to all make sense. But time is that one most precious thing. There was a song back in the 70s, all your money won't another minute buy. It was a line in Dust in the Wind. And it's so true. Like, it doesn't do you any good to have all the money in the world if you're not here to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely true.
So that was kind of, to us, that's the number one motivation for us to retire early,
Yeah.
to spend our time together, to spend our time being adventurous, while we're healthy enough, active enough, and still motivated enough, because the whole range of age hasn't caught up to us yet.
Yeah.
So, like Wendy said, we're kind of priming out for our 50s anyway, and so time was our biggest motivator.
Yeah. So number two.
Well, number two is, and somewhat related, but it is just freedom.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you remember previous videos of ours and stuff, I worked for Canada Post for years, and and I was in management, and I felt like it just really just killed my soul. And I had to, my whole life revolved around that job. So I had to go to bed early. I had to forgo things. I always had that commitment. And when we came out here to semi-retire, it was kind of like a real kind of, okay, I can let go of this. But then we were still working part-time. And then with real estate, we got back into full-time. Freedom for me personally is just knowing that I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to get up early in the morning, and I don't have to like wake up to an alarm clock, and I can have a coffee, one coffee if I want, two if I'm feeling lazy, three if I'm just enjoying my book in the morning. Like just that freedom to like not have to be anywhere, go anywhere, do anything except for what I want to do and what we want to do together.
And Wendy and I have always kind of been the type of people that question societal norms and the things that are expected of us.
Yeah.
Was one of the motivating factors moving coast to coast from the Vancouver area out here to beautiful St. John, is that we wanted to, and we've said it before, live life on our own terms.
Mm-hmm.
And we have done that. But the next logical step in that is to live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on our own terms, which is to be retired.
Yeah.
So the things about freedom, it's not just that you are free, but it's that feeling. So if you want to do something, you don't have to think about what are your other commitments. I mean, sometimes you have other commitments, but they're never work related. You're not answering emails late at night. You're not getting called in the morning. If you're sick, nobody's questioning you and telling you to bring a doctor's note.
Yeah.
Like you have that sense of freedom in your heart,
Yeah.
and it is a liberating feeling to us.
It's peace.
It's peace. Yeah, we got a taste of it, like we said, coming out here and being semi-retired for a
Yeah.
while, and then we got that reversed when we went back to be working full time for a while, and we missed it. And so, yeah, just it changes our whole perspective on waking up in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, freedom to kind of uh, surround ourselves with enrichment also. So, the one thing that I think we took for granted when we were working, just because we were so busy, were friends. And so in BC, friends came, friends went, things changed, friends moved on, we moved on, whatever. But I really feel the freedom right now to really work on those relationships, those friendships that we hold really dear, and stuff that enriches our lives. So it could be different for you guys, of course, but for us, it's more of like just getting that exercise in or those walks. We're not exercise freaks, trust me, but we do like to go for a nice walk and get some fresh air in our lungs. And it's never early in the morning. We're not go getters or anything, but we usually stumble out about noon and go for a nice walk along the water, breathe in some fresh air and see what's going on in the real world and stuff. And it's just a very lovely feeling to have that freedom.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos where people say that when you retire, you need to have a purpose. And they make it sound like it's this one, you know, huge goal of volunteering for the food bank or doing something that's just this massive thing. But really, having a purpose is just, to us, is about achieving what you want out of life.
Yeah.
And Wendy mentioned friendships. Like, we didn't really get enriched by our friendships when we were in BC because partly because we just didn't have the time to
We're
invest in
so
those things.
busy all the time.
And here, our pace slowed right from when we first moved here,
Yeah.
and it gave us the chance to form some friendships, to form activities. We've started doing stick curling, we did some lawn bowling, we played a lot of tennis, and those things enrich us. And then just getting deepening friendships with people that we've met since we've been out here
Yeah.
has been the most enriching thing at all. And when somebody calls us up and says, "Hey, do you have time to do this, or do you want to go there?" And now we always have that time, and we try whenever we can to jump all over those kinds of opportunities
Yeah.
because
So
it's
give us a call if you want to go out somewhere. No, just kidding.
it's been very rewarding,
Yeah.
and it is just that feeling of freedom, like Wendy said, peace. You just have that inner sense, and it was something we didn't know for sure would be that way because until we actually retired. And we are very new into retirement, not even quite full 4 months. And we hear that the novelty wears off at some point. You need to find your purpose. But our purpose, we worked hard for 40 years,
Yeah.
each of us, and the purpose was just living your life, right? And I don't think really that has changed for us now that we're retired. I mean, we try to be good people, be the best we can, but having that freedom to make our own choices,
Yeah.
again, not what somebody else tells us to do, but what we feel like doing.
Yeah.
That,
Whatever brings us joy.
that's one of our prime motivators for choosing to retire early.
Yeah. But the freedom that comes with retirement, we knew that that freedom was there. And when we chose to retire, we're like, yeah, we can be free to do this and be free to do that and everything else. Now that changes once you retired. Like I thought, hey, I'm going to be so free. I'm going to be able to like cook healthy meals. I'm going to be able to like try new recipes, everything else. So far, that hasn't panned out for me. I've been like, so kind of like, I don't want to be in the kitchen or whatever, but you know what? I have the freedom to decide. So it's kind of, yeah, that's a nice feeling to have. It's kind of like, I don't need to be in the kitchen. I wanted to be in the kitchen, but I guess I really didn't want to be in the kitchen.
And you never know, like we're, again, 4 months in, if we're hoping to have a good 50, 60 years of retirement. So maybe by the time Wendy turns 100, she might decide to spend more time in the kitchen. Who knows? But
yeah, yeah.
we'll see. So are we done with freedom?
Yes. What's number 3?
Number 3 is more practical, and it is to do with taxes and benefits.
Right. So I'm going to just zone out here because everything I know I've learned from Les, actually. So
throughout our lives, contributed to our RSPs. They're for a long time, before the advent of TFSAs, or tax-free savings accounts, RSPs were pretty much your only retirement tool in Canada.
mm-hmm.
And so people contributed to it. And like most people, I think, it was usually you think a little bit about the future, but mostly you were getting that tax rebate for today, right? And like everything else in life, you always got to pay the piper. So although you got a tax rebate at the time, all of that money is still taxable. So depending on when you start taking your RSPs out, you may be, if you're pushing your retirement further out, you're going to have fewer years to pay the taxes on those RSPs, meaning you may end up in a higher tax bracket. And we didn't want that to happen. We wanted our taxes to be minimized. And also we wanted to take advantage of certain um, Canadian government benefits that would be applicable to us when we retire, when we get to the age where we can collect any of that stuff, which we're not there yet. So sometimes, again, going back to that, working longer, it differs when you're going to start seeing the returns from your RSPs, and those returns could be highly taxable. And the way we sorted things out is we wanted to spread them over as many years as possible so that we could pay as little tax as possible. We still pay all of our taxes, of course, but it's something we're allowed to do, and we definitely took advantage of that. So if we had kept working, um, our tax burden would have been higher. I mean, you're already paying a lot of taxes, but the longer we would have kept putting off cashing in our RSPs or transferring them into a RIF, the tax burden would be higher. And if you watch a lot of the financial planning videos, which you see for retirement, I watch them. You'll see people, they'll talk about, oh yeah, work a couple extra years here and save this money. And then when you have to transfer everything into your RRIF, then try to take the minimum withdrawal amount so you can pay less tax. But then you're going to have all the money left at the end of your life. We don't want that.
And if you have a pension on top of your government pension, then that makes it even more convoluted.
Yeah, and everything makes your income higher.
Yeah.
And when you have higher income, you have higher taxes, and that doesn't matter what age you're at. And also, something you don't hear a lot talked about, but there's a program for that about a third of Canadians take advantage of, and that we will be, which is called the GIS, or Guaranteed Income Supplement. And if you're still cashing in RSPs or you have an RRIF when you turn 65, then your entitlement to that GIS gets reduced and reduced and reduced. And it's not like a little bit, it's like at least 50 cents on the dollar, sometimes 75 cents on the dollar. So you're losing out on a benefit that you're entitled to because you delay cashing in your RSPs. Now, we're not financial advisors by any means. And I encourage people to watch videos about that. But keep in mind that a lot of those videos are designed for people who are high income. And some of the advice that they give you can actually be negative if you're like us, where you're kind of, you're not relying on company pensions or anything like that. If your entire retirement is based on what you have saved and what you've got in your own investments, and not a company pension, then some of the things that they advise on could actually work against you. So do consult somebody that would be familiar with your own situation. For us, by retiring early, the net result is we're going to reduce our tax liability and increase our benefits later on when we can receive.
Yeah. So once Les learned all about that and the tax implication on all of our RSPs, it made sense to exhaust them before the age of 65 for us personally. So that's one of the reasons we decided to retire early, because that made sense for us.
Yeah, and again, everybody's situation is different. Again, watching those financial planning videos, you see they will always use a scenario, but it's a scenario of this fictitious person that meets the narrative that they're trying to portray. And it's probably not what your situation is, definitely not what our situation is. Mm-hmm. Everyone's situation is unique, and you really have to be cognizant of that advice, first of all, is geared towards higher earning people, which is fine if that's what you are, but it's also geared towards keeping financial planners employed. That's how they make their living. If they advise you to work a couple more years, they get a couple more years of your money. So, so just keep all that stuff in
Yeah.
mind.
So number 4.
Number 4 kind of builds on that. Is so the title of number 4 is We Did the Math. Mm-hmm. And what that means is that we know a lot of people. You always, when you get to be in your 50s, you talk a lot about retirements and financial situations. And so we know that there are a lot of people who either don't know exactly how much money they have.
Yeah.
More often, they don't know how much money they spend. Mm-hmm. Or both in a lot of cases. And so what we, in our conversations with people, they say, well, yeah, but I saw on the CBC that I need $1.7 million to retire, so that's kind of what I'm aiming for. But they don't even know how close they are to that, or even if they're in the ballpark. And so for us, we mentioned in previous videos, we track our expenses, and we know exactly how much money we have, and how much money we're going to have. And so we did the math to find, how many years and what point, and incorporating taxes and everything else into that, what the cutoff point would be where we could retire not wealthy by any means, but where we're confident that we can make it through. And that was this year. And so the first chance we had, we did it.
We're like, yeah, we can do it. Let's do it.
So, again, it's not our point to give advice, but if you can at least figure out where you're at, because to come up with a number like 1.7 million, I've even heard 2 million, 1.5, people just throw these out, and they're usually just a tabulated average of survey results from people that are asked. And since a lot of people don't actually know what their situation is, they throw out some big number because they figure, oh, that must be what I need. And everybody's situation is different, and vastly different. And so the numbers that they throw out there is probably not the number that you need. We figured it out that it was definitely not the number that we needed. And there's so many different factors that will go into it. And I'll just give you one example. We live in a condo, and there are approximately 80 units in this condo. And we have one of the lower priced units because it's small. It's beautiful. We love it, but it's small. So there are people that live, within feet of us who's require a lot more money because their condo is bigger. They paid more for it. They might have a mortgage. They definitely pay more property taxes. They definitely pay a higher monthly condo fee, higher insurance, all these little things. So their number, even in an exact same situation as us, would not be the same as our number because their expenses are different than ours. Mm-hmm. So even though we're in very similar situations, or at least it seems that way, our numbers will be different. So your numbers will be different.
Yeah.
And you just cannot count on these random survey result numbers to figure out where you're at. You need to take it upon yourself, if you're thinking of retiring early, to learn what your situation is.
Yeah, know your numbers, right? Know what you're spending each month. I know there's a lot of people out there that retired. They just spend the way that they've always spent, and it works out for them. That's great. For us, that's not necessarily the case. So we really needed to do the math. We really needed to know our numbers and figure it out over the long term. And another thing that we kind of figured out once we knew the numbers, we knew, how much we wanted to spend each year in travel and our budgets and everything else is, okay, well, we budgeted to travel to our late 70s into our early 80s. But we also own a condo, so if we were very healthy in our 80s and still wanted to travel, there's ways to take equity out of your property to supplement that travel. So we just have some outs.
Yes, and again, we're talking about our specific situation.
Yes.
And we are not interested in a legacy. We do not we don't have kids. It's just the two of us.
We have nieces and nephews.
We have nieces and nephews, and whatever's left over will be split amongst them, but we're not out there to try and leave a legacy. We had to earn everything that we have by ourselves, so we're not afraid of encouraging any of our relatives to earn their own way in life as well.
Yeah.
But if there's something left over, that's great. If there's not, and if we still have plenty of life left and gas in the tank, then we have ways of coming up with more money. Yeah. It's very important for us to be mortgage free.
Yeah.
And debt free. Extremely important for us. Part of that feeling, going back to point number 2 of freedom, is not owing anybody any money.
Yeah.
So we have our daily expenses, and a lot of those are choices that we make. Mm-hmm. They can be upped or lowered as we see fit. So we feel quite confident because we know our own numbers that we are good to go for retirement, and that's why we chose to do it when we did.
Exactly. So what's the next point?
The last point on our list.
Number 5.
Number 5. And this is a pretty big one, I think, is that we're not afraid to retire.
No fear.
No fear. Yeah. We know that there are people that are afraid to retire for one reason or another. We were lucky enough, we had a little bit of practice being semi-retired when we first moved out to beautiful St. John.
Yeah.
So we worked part-time, but uh, we've had no qualms about retiring. We actually, for the last 4 years, we worked together as a team. And some people worry about, oh, when we spend all our time together, we're going to hate each other. For us, it was kind of the other way around. When we were working, we weren't too fond of each other at times, but we had different ways of doing things,
Yeah.
which we didn't know until we started working together. And now that we're not working together, we knew that usually when we were, our downtime was great, and we're quite fond of each other.
Yeah.
At least I'm fond of her. She tolerates me, and so that was a fear that we didn't have. And then also, if the math we did and everything else isn't quite right, retirement is not like a definite point. It's a part of a process.
Yeah, it's not finite, right?
No,
Yeah.
so we need to get a part-time job, or if we get bored and the novelty wears off and we want a part-time job, or if our purpose is something calls us to do something where we can be fulfilled and earn some money, we're not opposed to doing that. There's not one time where we've said we're never working another day in our life.
There's just no rules.
There's no rules.
There's no rules. We may never want to work again, which is great if that all works out the way we've planned it. But if one of us wants to work, or both of us want to work, or if we just want to take up a seasonal job, or say if circumstances change and one of us has to go back to work, like it's um, all we need is just a part-time job because we've done it before.
Well,
So
all we might need.
yeah.
And like we're not that far off with our numbers. We have built-in contingencies for things that come up and emergencies, or if our like it would have to be something catastrophic for us to not be able to have thought about it already. But like if a car needs a new transmission, it's not something that's going to drive us back to work. Well, at least not until the transmission was fixed. uh,
But
but it wouldn't be an issue that would make us go back to work. Something that might make us go back to work is if, hey, we decided we want to go on a 12-month trip somewhere.
Yeah.
And we need to save up a little extra money for it, then maybe that would motivate us to do it.
So we've looked at some world cruises.
Yeah, and so that's not in our budget, but we're not afraid of working. We just decided that we're going to do things on our own terms.
Yeah.
When we came out here and worked part-time, we took only jobs that we wanted to do, and it was quite rewarding for us. We're not at that point right now, and we don't know what it'll be. But the point being that we weren't afraid to take the plunge, and I know people seem to think of retirement. You put in your papers, and they make a cake, and you never see anybody again at work, and that's it, and you're done, and all you can do is garden and stuff from that on. But retirement is just, it's a process. I mean, the days of people working 40 years or 35 years for one employer and retiring with a golden handshake and a nice pension, those are all behind us. And so is that theory of that retirement is a final outcome, and you're just out to pasture. Like, it's a process, and we're 4 months in, or somewhere around there, and we hope that we have many years to go. We don't know where everything will take us, but we were not afraid to take the plunge, and we know people sometimes are, and we know that for some people, their work is their identity. I've watched again videos of people who talk about things they didn't see coming when they retired, and you hear it a lot where they used to introduce themselves as Bob the consultant, and now they're just Bob. But we introduce ourselves as Bob the early retiree.
Yes.
And
it's always a conversation piece.
Yeah.
Whenever we're out with people, they're like, "How did you retire so early?" And we're like, "Well."
So it's something that we feel is an accomplishment. It's something, when Wendy and
It
I got
is.
together 22 or so years ago, we barely had two nickels to rub together.
Yeah.
And we've worked hard, we've planned hard, we've always tried to live within our means or even under our means, and we're still kind of doing that. Um, and so we've shackled together what we could over these years that allowed us to retire a lot earlier than we ever thought we could, and a lot earlier than other people tend to do sometimes. So when we do introduce ourselves as being retired and we're trying to be healthy and all that stuff, it does start a conversation. And why can't that be an identity
Yeah.
as somebody who retired early? So we don't we were never scared of it. It was something we looked forward to, and accomplishing it and saying we did it has been a real good feeling for us. Part of our own overall lifestyle of not following what society tells us to do, doing things our own way, what feels right for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said.
So, anything to add?
Uh, Not really. Just we really wanted to kind of make a video of why we retired early. We made a video about how we don't have any income, which is true. I mean, RSPs, that's income that we've already made. Um, uh, so that's not really income that's incoming or whatever. But uh, how we retired early, and maybe it's something that you can, somewhere in this video, maybe something that you can take away, or if you're interested in retiring early and stuff, learn a little bit from our journey. And so we're just really grateful to be in this situation. Um, we don't live large. We are disciplined. We've worked really hard. We've planned really hard, and now we just get to enjoy it. It's kind of nice. So
And again, what we do is not for everybody, but it's been good for us.
yes,
And if you have any questions or anything for us and you want to leave them in the comments, we usually try to answer any questions as best we can.
yes,
If you want more wine time videos, please think about subscribing to our
yeah,
channel.
for sure,
And we hope to see you again in the next
for
video.
sure. We love retirement in St. John.